Herschel Walker seems like a perfectly affable man. I think a lot of people love him from his football days and so on. But his campaign is suffering some severe blows over the past 24 hours, and I wonder what your take is on it. First, the Daily Beast, which of course is out to get him, as they are all Republicans or anybody they think leans right, could be reporters, could be politicians, dropped what is clearly Oppo research that they've had in their back pocket on him for some time, in a story suggesting that he impregnated a woman. He was not married, that he impregnated a woman and that he paid for her abortion. And they produced evidence that they claim is his handwriting on a get well card to the woman's testimonial, and a $700, I think it's $700 check that they say is from him to her to pay for it. He was on Hannity last night. I think we have the soundbite. Yeah. It's soundbite 14. He denies it. Listen.
So they're claiming that on September 12th of 2009, that the woman has a receipt for an abortion. They're claiming that 5 days later, on September 17th, you sent a $700 check and that you sent it in a get well card. The get well card, it looks like it's included with your signature in the article. Have you seen it? And is that your signature?
I haven't seen it, but, you know, I can tell you, I send out so many get well, send out so much of anything, but I can tell you right now, I never asked anyone to get an abortion. I never paid for an abortion, and it's a lie.
Okay, he also said he randomly sends out money to people all the time, and so he doesn't remember whether he sent this woman money. For the record, he's a pro-life candidate he wants abortion to be outlawed in Georgia, including rape and incest exceptions. So if this is true, it's a totally fair story because it shows hypocrisy. I mean, it's definitely an Oppo research dump, and the Daily Beast clearly held it for their October surprise, but doesn't make it irrelevant if it's true, because it shows his hypocrisy. Never mind, you know, character, which is always relevant, right? Because if you're running as a pro-lifer and you've paid for somebody's abortion, this could be an issue. By the way, same thing happened to Trump, right? Like when he was running, he said he'd be the most pro-life president we've ever had. It turned out to be true. And then there were reports that he had impregnated women and paid for abortions. Who knows? Okay. So then the second shoe drops where Christian Walker, who I happen to freaking adore, who is Herschel Walker's son, and he is not some liberal Daily Beast journalist. He's the man's son. He is a MAGA, Trump-loving conservative who, like you, just celebrated his ability to flee California and UCLA in particular, where he towed the conservative line and took a lot of abuse. He's a hero. But he's about had it with his dad, Herschel Walker, and his public persona. He unleashed in some very powerful testimonials that he posted on his social media last night. Here's a sampling of it. Saw it 15.
I stayed silent when it came out that my father, Herschel Walker, had all these random kids across the country, none of whom he raised. And you know my favorite issue to talk about is father absence. Surprise, because it affected me. Family values people. He has 4 kids, 4 different women, wasn't in the house raising one of them. He was out having sex with other women. The abortion card drops yesterday. It's literally his handwriting in the card. They say they have receipts, whatever. He gets on Twitter. He lies about it. Everything has been a lie. Don't lie about your life at the expense of me, my mom, and all of the people that you've affected throughout your life. You don't get to pretend you're some moral family guy. You don't get to pretend all these things. Talk policy, talk normal. Do not lie.
Final point, Dave. Christian accuses Herschel Walker of threatening to kill his family members. Says, you've made a mockery of our family. You are not a family man. When you left us to bang a bunch of women, you threatened to kill us and had us move 6 times in 6 months running from your violence. Herschel's response, I think, so far has been to basically say that he loves his son. So it's getting very ugly and unfortunate. This is, you know, let's just be honest, an important seat for Republicans in the upcoming midterms. So how are Republicans who want to see the GOP retake the Senate to process all of this?
Okay, so there's so much here. So first off, I would say no matter what has come out, no matter what clips you just showed or whatever else could come out, that Herschel Walker would be a better senator than Raphael Warnock. That's just number one. He's a radical like truly radical, wokester, leftist, progressive. That's one thing. But that's not to defend any of the things that Herschel either did or didn't do. I would also say that Daily Beast is absolute trash, and this is what they do with everybody.
They are.
They've probably got dossiers on you and me. I mean, they are really sort of the worst of the worst. Okay, let's put that aside. I would take a slightly different opinion on one thing, which is the hypocrisy thing. You know, all of us are hypocrites to some degree. No one has always lived up to their ideals at all times. And we also evolve on certain things. So if you are fully pro-life, to me, you'd still have to vote for Herschel Walker. Now, I think, Megyn, you and I are somewhat similar on the abortion topic. I'm not totally sure, but I would be okay with something around a 15-week ban, and they could still have exceptions for the mother's health. That would be my own personal belief. And that's, by the way, what we have here in Florida, which is thought of as this, you know, far-right red state stronghold or something. We have something that actually is a compromise. That's far more of a compromise than having 8-month abortions. So it is possible, in my estimation, that maybe he did evolve. Maybe he actually did pay for this abortion and then afterwards started thinking about abortion a little bit differently, right? I mean, I know women that have had abortions that then become, hugely pro-life because of the way they feel afterwards. So everyone can evolve in their own way. That's not to say that if he's lying about it and if he actually did write that and sign the check and all that, that he should get away scot-free for the lie, because it would be better to just come out with it, say, yeah, I did this. My politics have changed. I've evolved on this issue, et cetera. But your question really was, what do Republicans do? I mean, I think in essence, you still got to vote for the guy. I see no way around it. It's not like he's going to drop out and they're going to throw someone else in there that can suddenly win.
No. Well, it reminds me in some ways of the Access Hollywood tape dropping in October before the 2016 election. It was so close to the actual vote. And, even some in Trump's closest inner circle were saying you have to drop out or it's going to be the worst loss you've ever suffered. Didn't Reince Priebus say that to him? I think Kellyanne Conway told me that and wrote it in her book. And he didn't believe that. He believed that, flawed though he may be, the GOP would get behind him and would prefer him to Hillary Clinton. And this is an interesting scenario, right? Because let's say people don't even believe the abortion allegation because they hate the Daily Beast. It's going to be tough to dismiss Christian Walker. I mean, he's just so credible and it's his son. But you look at the Trump situation. Does the pro-life lobby give two damns about whether Trump impregnated a woman and may or may not have had an abortion prior to appointing 3 Supreme Court justices who struck down Roe v. Wade? This is the position we're in right now. And I don't know if it's new. People talk about it like it's new, like Trump was this uniquely bad figure and people had to choose between character and policy for the first time in a unique way. I don't think that's true. Joe Biden, they choose what they want to believe, right? Joe Biden, according to Tara Reid, who I interviewed, molested her digitally in the halls of the U.S. Senate and then basically crapped all over her verbally and then ruined her life when she came forward to tell the story. We could be here all day if we talked about Bill Clinton and what he did to these women. So it's like, is anybody so pure? What about Hillary Clinton? I want to talk about what an upstanding citizen she's been. It's so, I don't know. It's tough. It's tough for voters today because we're in a day and an age when we know more about them and their personal lives than we ever have before.
Right. Look, politicians have been doing all sorts of stuff for a long, long time, right? JFK was known to have women in and out of the White House, and Marilyn Monroe and all sorts of stuff, right? So this has been going on forever. I'm curious, though, what do you think on the hypocrisy front? To me, it's that people will move past it, actually. I think it's not even to defend whether his personal
I think they would move past it. Yeah, I'm just saying journalistically, this is not an unfounded hit piece that has no place in the pages of a paper. This is a fair game story for political world. I would do this story on a Democrat who had said he was pro-life, and then we found out that this, I think that's a fair game story. I'm just saying, you as a consumer, you have to be smart and understand it's definitely an Oppo research dump. They're doing it to hurt him. That's the difference between the Daily Beast and, at least some honest reporters. They're doing it because they want to see him go down. You got to factor that in. There's been a long history of this kind of thing. And then it's up to the voters to decide whether that story, or I do think more importantly, Christian Walker's testimonial matters. There was a day when sort of the core base of the Republican Party prided itself on choosing men of character, women of character, to be their standard bearers. And if it's true if Christian Walker's allegations are true, that he threatened to kill his family members, that he made a mockery of them. He left the wife to, quote, bang a bunch of women, threatened to kill them, and had them move 6 times in 6 months, running from his violence, and on and on. Like, can we really say that's irrelevant? Are you tired of feeling like someone's always watching you on the internet? Maybe the advertisers know just a little bit too much about you, or you're concerned about the privacy of your identity. Using incognito mode won't solve the problem either. IPVanish VPN is here to protect your right to privacy and to help you stay anonymous online. IPVanish helps you safely browse the internet without exposing your private details to third parties like hackers, your ISP, or advertisers. When you use IPVanish, all of your data is encrypted. This means that your private details, passwords, communications, browsing history, and more will be completely shielded from falling into the wrong hands. Even your physical location will be hidden. IPVanish is offering an incredible 70% off their yearly plan for our listeners with a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's like getting 9 months for free. IPVanish is also super easy to use. All you do is tap one button and you are instantly protected. Take your privacy back today with the brand rated 4.6 out of 5 on Trustpilot. Go to ipvanish.com/Megyn and use that promo code Megyn to claim your 70% savings. That's ipvanish.com/MEGYN. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.